You know, that song had what I think is some of the most colorful and eloquent poetry of the whole piece. All the village stereotypes, the shamus, that's the caretaker of the synagogue. I know in the Christian tradition we have like a sexton or the beadle, I think you call it, who we think of as a dignified old man who lives in a little cottage behind the rectory with like lace doilies and stuff. But in our tradition, the shamus is kind of an ignorant old sod who thought because he held the keys to the synagogue that he was the rabbi's right-hand man and sort of closest confidant and advisor. He's sitting there all stern and sort of judgmental. The village butcher, you know, rushing about. You can almost see his apron spattered with blood and feathers, you know, in confusion. I like the line in the poem where it says, the horses' hoofs, the sparks fly from their feet. It says, "Es spritzen die Podkivis Finkeln fire." A lot of Yiddish in there. The word Podkivis actually is a Russian word. I said Yiddish was a German dialect, but it draws heavily from both the local dialects and more importantly from Hebrew. It's one of the amazing facts of Jewish history that we preserved from ancient Palestine, from the destruction of the temple in 70 AD. We carried that language with us through 2,000 years of exile, integrally as part of our daily speech, and it's only in the present generation that's kind of disappeared. But the color and the power of the language, often the same concept might have 3 words to describe it. Depending on the source language, it would add a different flavor to the expression. And the most amazing example of that is where he says, "But the German had a daughter." He says, "Nur der Deutsch hat mitgebracht, a bas yechidele a pracht." He doesn't use the ordinary Yiddish-German expression, an einzig Tochter, for an only daughter. He uses the Hebrew, the holy tongue, an only daughter. And it adds sort of the danger and the temptation and the sense of the forbiddenness that amplifies that by using the Hebrew. It's an amazing expression. And more amazing than that is all these beautiful, colorful imagery, all taken out in 1906 from the politically correct version. So you wonder what makes a writer do that. And it can only be sort of the ebb and flow of political correctness, and society gets more stuck up and sort of, oh, you can't say that, and then sort of loosens up for a while. But there's no progress really in human affairs. I mean, it's just an ebb and flow. I think this poem shows that. Anyhow, I think you understand I'm proud of the work I've done on this. And well, we fringe players, we all hope to accomplish great things with our little plays, and you know, you never know when you might get the right break. When I tell people about what I've done, they sometimes say to me, "You know, Marty, it sounds really interesting, and who knows, if you're lucky, you get the right break, you might have the next Yentl on your hands." They don't compare me to the forgettable Barbara Streisand vehicle about the yeshiva boy. They compare me, of course, they say, "You might have the next Fiddler on the Roof on your hands." Well, who wouldn't like to hear that? I mean, and in my sort of moments of greatest optimism, I think, well, maybe I could. But being of the analytical bent, I want to see, like, how do I stack up against Fiddler on the Roof? So I've actually compared them song by song, and it's kind of interesting. Fiddler on the Roof starts out with a great song. Ballad of Mange starts off, great song. Voices giving, once upon a time, a Moulin Eland. Great, so far so good. Second song, Ballad of Mange, that's the one where the devil is, and it's also routine as she turns to inquire which sinners he's planning. That's great. Fiddler on the Roof, second song, I don't remember what, oh yeah. If I was a rich man, and you have to say, I mean, advantage Fiddler, I mean, he's already done. And it doesn't stop there. I mean, they go, matchmaker, matchmaker, make me a match, and sunrise, sunset. I mean, the hits just keep coming. Okay, maybe I'm not the next Fiddler on the Roof, but I wonder, there's a lot of musical shows, some of them better, some of them worse, and I've kind of figured out that I look at The Lion King, and I say, I think I'm about that level. And I'll tell you why, because Elton John's a great songwriter, and he starts off with this big power ballad, you know, can you feel the love tonight? Great. But if I ever have to hear that song, Hakuna Matata, one more time, like, it would be too soon. And the reason why I think the score is not all that great is there's no plot for The Lion King. I mean, what happens? I mean, Simba sort of gets chased away and he meets the warthog and then he comes back and so on. There's no plot. You want a guy to write a good score, you got to give him something to work with. Like, say, some hillbilly strikes oil on his back for you in California. There's going to be a song in that. But if you just say, we need a song about some, it's about a sort of 30-ish woman, and she's living in the city, and she has a job, and she has some nice friends. She's just trying to get, who can turn the world on with her smile? You know, that's the best you can write, you know, like the Mary Tyler Moore Show. So you give a man something to work with, and I feel that was the strength of what I've done with the Monish scores. Like, I had a text to work with that did motivate the music, so I feel lucky to be working with this material. Speaking of those TV themes, it's just a fact, you can't go wrong with the country themes. They're always good. Just a good old boy, never did you no harm. Beats all you ever saw, been in trouble with the law since the day they was born. Straight in the curves, I gotta do this, flat in the hill. Someday the mountain might get them, but the law never will. Making their way, I don't want to stop. The late, great Waylon Jennings. There are certain themes of country songs that you're allowed to write songs about in country music. Of course, we know that drinking and sort of cheating, and those are sort of traditional country themes. One of the minor sub-themes in country music is that country music itself is an acceptable theme for country music songs, especially the late great heroes of country music. There's a George Jones song I really like singing. It goes, who's gonna fill their shoes? Who's gonna stand that tall? Who's gonna play the Opry and the Wabash Cannonball? Who's gonna give their heart and soul just to get to me and you? Lord, I wonder who's gonna fill their shoes. Yes, I wonder who's gonna fill their shoes. Thank you. I have to do that sometime. I'm gonna go over my time limit. I really shouldn't do that. Okay, back to Monish. He says. Oh, he says. Monish. Now, I got my cheat sheets here now. So the devil has laid his plot down, and now Monish, we're going to see if he goes for the bait. And in the next song, he's made a rendezvous with the girl, and the question is he going to make it to the rendezvous because his conscience is bothering him? And in this song, he does it with those two angels, one in each ear, the good angel and the evil angel. And like, you've seen it in the cartoons. And you've seen Homer Simpson, you've seen like Fred Flintstone with Gazoo, you've seen... I wonder if it's too far-fetched to think that maybe back in the 1930s, some Jewish fellow working in the Disney studios, drawing those Pluto cartoons, didn't sort of borrow something that he read in Paris, you know, when he was a kid. Anyhow, the interesting thing about the song here is how very Jewishly the two angels make their cases, make their respective cases. They use arguments that would have spoken to the Jewish soul back in the day. So let's hear how it goes.